Welcome to Jenkins Governance meetings, the 23rd of March, 2022. So agenda review, got news, a question on expense approvals for the security team reimbursements, meeting time question. So we'll talk that one briefly. A question in terms of the Jenkins project and the Ukraine invasion by Russia, CDF Community Awards nominations, Jenkins is the Way replacement site, Contributors Summit and cdCon 2022. And Oleg, I think we've got one there. It now has a remote component, right?
Yeah, it was announced.
Right. And then Google Summer of Code progress report that I can do if we have time, and forums and topics. Are there other topics that need to go on the agenda?
Maybe one minor topic. So currently the Google Calendar invite points you to Google Meet, not to Zoom.
Oh dear, I'm sorry, which does the calendar
So
invite for
if you
this
open
meeting?
a calendar for this invite, you by default
Okay.
you would go to Zoom.
Okay,
to
so
Google Meet.
let me put that on as an action item for me, and I'll get that fixed.
So every time you invite a new person, Google Calendar automatically adds a Google Meet.
Oh, how helpful of them. Okay.
Yes.
The Zoom is also in the location tag.
Yeah, but if it's got Google Meet, that creates confusion. So
Okay.
for this meeting, so remove the Google Meet link from this meeting on Jenkins calendar. I'll do that. Thanks. Any other items that need to be on the agenda? Okay, then let's go ahead. So news, just that the next long-term support release candidate has been released just today, or has been delivered as a release candidate today. It's ready to test. Encourage people to do it. Tim has followed a very good working pattern. We've got a different release lead, and we've been alternating between various release leads. This continues the alternation with, I think, Ildefonso Montero as the current release lead for this release. So Gavin had brought one, expense approvals for the security team. I think that there's a question that, so Gavin, maybe you can give background on it.
Yeah, so Wadik emailed the governance list asking to approve get an account into Expensify so he can submit expenses from the security team and I assume bug bounties and stuff. But it's been sitting for 2 weeks, so I figured we should bring it up in the meeting.
Yes, so I can provide a quick update. So we met with Wadik, we got him in the system. So it required 2 iterations because of some weirdness in his account configuration. But currently there is a pending Expensify request from Wadik and I need to approve it. It's something like $50, so I don't see any reason to not approve it. Last year we approved $1,000 budget for security bounties, so it can just go forward. Yes, so I will approve it. So regarding having permissions, so about 1 year ago, a bit more, almost 2 years ago when we were setting it up, I basically asked all governing board members to join. So Uli joined.
Yep.
Marky, I guess he didn't have time. But yeah, now it definitely makes sense to regroup because I guess I'm the only governing board member who still have access to this system.
I definitely have an account, Linux Foundation account in Expensify. I just don't have any elevated permissions, so.
Yeah, so it's a bit tricky there because they designed system for having only one person managing finance. What could possibly go wrong? But last time we applied a hack, so I can submit another request to Heather so that she adds you manually as admins to the system.
Yep. Yeah, it's just the delegate access or whatever, right?
Yeah. So while we are here, we still have some issues with money. So I guess both on your plate, Mark. So one is Tracy Miranda. She still hasn't submitted money for Jenkins from FOSDEM. So I guess
Okay.
we just need to get it over the line.
All right. Okay. So this,
And another one, what we discussed for Google Summer of Code 2021. Again, the Linux Foundation hasn't transferred funds from mentorship to Jenkins yet.
okay, and that was for 2021.
Yes. So we discussed it a few times at our admin meetings, but I have no idea who was actually taking care of that.
Yeah, I think those were on me and I have not done them. So it's not funds from GSOC 2021. So let's put that just as a reminder. All right, Mark, take the action item to find and complete those transfers. That makes sense.
I suspect the same for Google Season of Dogs, actually.
I thought we had handled that one, but it's worth asking. It's a good safety check.
Definitely required a lot of plumbing on my side. I definitely remember that money have arrived to the Linux Foundation, but I'm not 100% sure they arrived to Jenkins account after that. I'm just looking. Yeah, we got GSOC money.
Oh, good. All right. So confirmed. Excellent.
Yes.
Very good. Okay. Great. Anything else with regard to funds or expense approvals?
General reminder that we should spend funds because yeah, we would have something like 10-ish K if Tracy transfers the remainder and we get for GSOC. Okay.
Right.
Well, it's not a huge sum, but definitely allows at least doing something.
Right. Yeah. Well, that would allow, for instance, a community bridge project, right? Community bridge is less than 10K.
Yeah.
What's a community bridge project?
Community bridge allows us to do a funded development project with.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's called LFX mentorship.
Oops, using the wrong name. Yes, LFX mentorship. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was going to say it also means that if there's some, based on the convos in the mailing list, there are interest in doing bug bounties, or I don't know what they're called, but bounty an issue, which means that we could contribute to that as well.
Oh, all right.
I don't know. That's another discussion we should probably have, but
Right. There was an open question about bounty systems, right? So good question.
Yep.
Yes. Great. Okay. Anything else with regard to funds? Okay, next topic then. Does the meeting time need to adjust because of government manipulation of clocks? I'm sorry, daylight saving time.
So I was hoping Evelina would have been able to make it because it's her and Oleg, which is probably the bigger proponents of changing this right now. But I guess the question is, do we need to change it for Oleg?
Yeah, so Oleg, what time of day is it right now? Is it 10 p.m. your time, 9 p.m.?
Yeah, 10 p.m. So generally I'm fine with keeping it at 10 p.m. So with the change, it would be 11 p.m. and it's also fine with me.
Oh, so you haven't had the change yet?
No.
Yeah, the change will happen later.
Okay, yeah, no, our change was last weekend, so
Yeah, so I'm perfectly fine with keeping it as is. So for me, the question is having more people on the calls, not adjusting the time if everyone is fine.
Yeah.
Great. So we can check with Evelina at the next meeting just to confirm what works well for her. Next meeting, is your time change then within the next 2 weeks, Oleg? Guess it doesn't matter. When we meet next, we can ask the question again just to be sure.
Yeah, so if our calendar is configured properly, I'm just checking. So if it's configured for UTC, so it's April 6th, and yeah, it's configured properly, so it will be still 9 p.m. UTC or 11 p.m. Central European time. And yeah.
Okay.
For me, it's okay.
Great. All right. So we stay with this time for now and double check each time we meet until we're settled. Thanks. Next, there was a community forum conversation proposing to update this is from Alyssa Tong, proposing to, for a period, update the Jenkins.io root level page with a new icon of Jenkins. This one, and using some phrasing from that the CDF is using with regard to standing with the people of Ukraine and encouraging contributions to the International Committee of the Red Cross. I wanted to open it up here to see if board members have further guidance they want to give or a strong opinion one way or the other.
I had an action item to draft statement from the last meeting. I didn't write it. So for me, there are two questions. Firstly, the message. I mean, editing message is perfectly fine. So well, basically similar to how CD Foundation applied that. Again, I do have some reservations because it focuses only Ukraine, but yeah, well, it's well, people are doing there. The question is about logo. So for logo, I will abstain. So I understand the reasoning for this logo, but well, it can be interpreted completely differently because Cossacks is just a part of Ukrainian culture. It doesn't represent all the history. Plus, historically, Cossacks were basically mercenaries. So if you want to put mercenaries with stop the war logo, I do have some questions. Not to speak about that the term of Cossacks is completely Russia used Kazakhs as one of its propaganda branches. So it's also probably not very appropriate from this standpoint. So
okay.
Yes, for statement. For logo, I think it needs more votes. Personally, yeah, knowing the history, if I saw this logo, let's say I would have had mixed opinions.
Okay, thanks. Gavin, any comments from you?
No, I've been trying really hard to abstain from even engaging in that topic. I know we talked about it last week. I think as a board, we did come up with a decision, which is, Oleg was going to craft the message, which again, I think is fine with the version that Alyssa posted, but I don't know enough to get involved. And I feel like I don't know how to say it in the politest way, but I'm not invested enough to really make a statement. I'm happy if the majority want us to switch Jenkins website or logo or anything else. I'm not objecting to it, but I don't know if I can really make an informed decision.
So I can provide, so in the Captain, we changed the logo based on the community consensus. So in our case, we got around 30 votes and 26 of them were +1, 3 abstain, including me, and one -1. So in this case, we discussed with the person who voted against. They were fine with posting. So from captain standpoint, consensus was reached, but it was only about changing the logo. And in the case of captain, it wasn't controversial because we just changed the colors to the colors of the Ukrainian flag. So similar to what the CDF did.
Yeah, that might be a not a workaround, a compromise.
Well,
Yeah.
recoloring Jenkins might be arguably more complicated than captain, because captain's logo is really simplified. I will just put it to the notes. But so yeah, for us it was something like that. If it ever loads on Mark's side.
There. Oh, okay.
So basically, this is what we did, and that's it. So if Jenkins just changed the background, etc., it would be one of the options. But yeah, so basically using Cossacks for Ukrainian is, let's say, you can use cowboys or Indians to represent the American nation, and it can come across like that. So it might seem completely okay from external side, but for people inside, it might be a dividing topic.
So let's, assuming Mark doesn't disagree, let's vote on moving forward with the message. Like, I think that's something we can do right now, and I think we all somewhat support. And then maybe have some sort of community vote on the logo or alternatives or something. Because I don't want to do nothing, but I also don't want to make the problem worse.
Right. So I think what you were saying is let's split it into two votes, CD Foundation message as one, and then logo change, logo modification as another. Did I understand that right, Gavin?
I mean, yes, but I think the board could just vote on the foundation message and the community could do the logo.
Right, exactly.
So adopting to the message from the CDF is fine.
Yeah.
So this message was approved by the CDF governing board. I also plus one data there. So
right.
Just adopting this message is not a big problem.
Yeah.
Right. And Gavin, I was assuming you're +1 as well.
Yeah.
I'm definitely +1. Great. Okay. So let me put that one as marked to take the action item to propose the pull request for that change. Great. Excellent. Thank you. And on the logo modification, I assume the two of you are okay if I bring the comments here back to the conversation on community.jenkins.io, and we ask for further conversation there.
Yeah. Just so out of my depth there, I don't know what to do. So.
Right. Makes sense. Okay.
So in this case, I would rather ask Ukrainian nationals. I'm not sure how many of them you have in the Jenkins community right now. So I definitely know a few people, but I'm not sure whether they are reachable, taking the situation in Ukraine.
And I think that's a good invitation. We should encourage and invite insights from Ukrainian nationals in particular. If we have friends or contacts that are Ukrainian nationals, it would be very interesting to have their insights.
We can, as let's say an alternative, or maybe in addition to, we can also add the flag to social media, and we could just change the background colors of like the logo does, but without the foreground change as well.
Okay.
So as alternatives.
Red circle of Jenkins.
Sorry? You're very echoey, so I'm having trouble hearing.
Yes, sorry. So we have red circle, for example, on LinkedIn, etc. So just change.
Yeah, I mean, again, it wouldn't be as meaningful, but it is an option.
Yeah, well, for Twitter account, we still have Jenkins 2.0 logo. So It's a separate step.
Okay. Anything else then on that topic with regard to Ukraine?
Nope.
Okay, so next was CDF Community Awards nominations are now open. They actually close the March 29, 2022. So please submit your nominations. There's been a blog post created, and the blog post gives links to the correct nomination locations. Trying to follow, I believe they're following the same nomination technique as they used last year of public nominations. I have several I'm going to nominate, so I have not yet placed it on the Jumbotron like I agreed to. Sorry, my time off was much more fun than it probably should have been, and now I need to get that done. So
You say that, but I saw you replying to everything.
well, I did not suspend my life, that's for sure, but I had a lot of fun. Oh my, I had fun.
Yeah. No, I realized. I think you just took time off work, so any of your work responsibilities, but any of your other like hobby stuff you were engaged with, which was a nice, bridge between the two. Not bridge, divide. I don't know. Word. Nice
Right.
word between the two of them.
Good enough.
Yeah.
So next is Gavin. I wanted to let you share status on the Jenkins is the Way replacement site.
Yeah, there hasn't been a lot of updates since the last meeting, but I got a new version. It's running purely in Gatsby. It's a standalone site. Yeah, it's all hooked up and to CI. It'll auto deploy to Netlify. We got Fastly installed to cache page hits and everything else. So I mean, all the maintenance is done. Infra team is just finishing off some refactoring on DNS, so they won't be able to get the new DNS for a couple of days. In the meantime, I'm trying to just finish a few of the polished things that were mentioned on the forums. So hopefully we can have this live before the end of the month, and and I still kind of want to have the full URL be way is jenkins.io, but it's kind of horrible.
Yeah, your inversion of the phrase for me was really hard to read. I'm not so good at reading right to left.
But then it's the Yoda speak, and it's on brand.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of progress. I'm hoping I'm going to try hooking up probably tonight the Netlify CMS, which essentially gives you the ability to submit things with a WYSIWYG, but it's all via GitHub PRs, so no database, no nothing.
Oh, great. Excellent. That's excellent.
And if that works out, we can probably backport it to other things. So, it's a good excuse to try things when it's not critical. So.
Thank you. Okay. Anything else on the Jenkins is the Way replacement site?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Next topic then was cdCon 2022 and the Jenkins Contributor Summit. So there's a remote presentation component. Oleg, you had mentioned, I think, that you were considering the future of Jenkins talk. Are you willing to do that remotely? How?
Yes, I'm willing to do it remotely if it's not pre-recorded. So the problem that nobody clarified what exactly the virtual experience would be. And my experience with Linux Foundation virtual events is that it's terrible experience for both speakers and participants. So I don't commit to do it right now, but I'm waiting for details.
Okay, great. Now, if it were not, I still plan to be there in person. So if they were to choose not to do what you were considering remotely, would you be willing to let me still be a voice to do something similar on site?
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that.
Okay, great. Excellent, thank you. So, and cdCon is being promoted on the Jumbotron. We're still working to get them to tell us a final date for the Contributor Summit. Alyssa Tong's coordinating that with the folks at cdCon. contributor summit agenda and topics and attendance. We'll work those in the future.
Yeah. So my understanding is that some individual contributors and companies are still going to embargo travel to Texas. So for Jenkins Contributor Summit, do we consider hybrid or virtual options, or do we go in person?
I was going to plan for an in-person and then do an online session as a separate exercise, but not immediately at the same time, so possibly several weeks later or a month later, if we want to do an online. I thought you'd given good advice previously that hybrid experiences tend to be suboptimal for both the on-site people and the remote people. So I was thinking, let's do this one purely local, and if they're embargoed, they won't be able to attend. We'll meet as we can face to face, and then look at, should we do a later in June or an early in July?
You don't expect a backslash from a Jenkins doing an in-person event in Texas taken.
I don't, but I may be wrong. I'm right now checking to see if there is a backlash. I'm not expecting it, because at least here in the US, I'm not seeing those kind of concerns.
I don't think we would get backlash for having an event at an event. If we were hosting our own event, purely Jenkins in Texas, there might be backlash. I don't even know what backlash, but yeah.
Fair point.
Okay.
I do know that Texas is currently getting tornadoes, so that's a whole different issue.
Ouch. Okay. Anything else on contributed? Oh, go ahead, Oleg.
I didn't contribute anything meaningful to this discussion, so we can continue.
Okay. Last topic I had was just to give a brief status on Google Summer of Code. We've got lots of interactions happening in the Gitter channel. We're hosting sessions with potential candidates. It's still feeling a little short on number of mentors, and we've got good discussions going on in a mentors group and in general in GSOC on community.jenkins.io. So it feels like we're making progress there. I had a good discussion yesterday with a group working on one particular project idea, and good involvement from mentors and from the candidates. Gavin, you had forum and topics. You want to take that one up for us?
Yeah, it's again pretty light. No, not, it just is. The publish over, starting with publish over SSH. I think publish over, one of them is now migrated to GitHub. I have to go look at which one it is. The maintainer says they plan to do all of them, but they're starting with just the first one. So, and there has been a new release to fix because it was suspended a couple months ago, and so there should be a new release out that prevents that issue. Yeah, what you said, not what I said.
Yeah, that's, and I am interested. I haven't followed that nearly well enough on what it means to have migrated a plugins issue tracker to GitHub and the impact on the security team, but I assume they've got ways to handle that. And
yeah, well, the security team's always been in its own project in Jira, so I don't think that would really impact the security team. But yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. But there are plugins moving back and forth, not back and forth, but one way or the other. So I know there is a script. The infra team worked on a script to do their migration. So in this case, the script is being used. I don't know how ready it is for other people to use it, but it does exist.
Good, excellent, thanks.
And then, you're done.
The
And
trans,
then,
oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
in the mailing list, there is an ongoing topic about using external translation systems. I don't know the name of them offhand. You might, Mark, but essentially, have a UI to let you fill out translations and then export them into plugins or core or whatever.
Yeah, so
Okay.
Alex Brandes, known as not my fault, is his login account.
Yeah.
Showed Crowd in Enterprise to the DocSig 2 weeks ago.
Cool.
And I've got the action item to enable exactly that on 2 or 3 of the plugins that I maintain that are low risk.
Yeah.
And we'll do some testing with, he was willing to do a German translation. And I think I know several people who are willing to do French translations that are native, just to see how does it feel. And what he showed as the demonstration of the DocSig was very, very positive and much easier to use than the Perl script.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about those toolings. So, and I wish they existed, 10, 15 years ago when I had to do custom solutions in various companies. So,
yeah.
And then our earlier conversation reminded me bug bounties.
Oh, yes. Okay.
There was a discussion on the mailing list, and I think there was confusion. I think we figured it on the end. To enable any of the bug bounty systems, we would need to enable GitHub issues for Jenkins core if we wanted core issues solved. I'm personally not a fan of having multiple systems enabled. I think it's really confusing. And, I replied as such, I'm like, I think we can do one or the other, but we can't do both. But there's no reason that plugins couldn't opt into using the plugins that have migrated could not. There's no reason to, there are too many negatives in this sentence. Plugins can opt into using any of the bounty systems. And I don't think they need to opt into it. I think a bounty can be placed for any GitHub issue.
Okay.
I don't know. I have not looked into it.
Yeah, I know I'm not ready to switch Jenkins core to use GitHub issues. That let's stay with Jira for now.
Let's change that to be big bounty systems for Jenkins core would require GitHub issues being enabled, because we don't have to use them fully, but it does have to be enabled.
Yeah, good. Okay.
Yeah, so the question is, what do we do with duplicates, etc., and whether we have any capacity to even handle that?
Yeah.
Right. And I think we fundamentally do not have the capacity to handle it and don't get enough value out of such a transition to justify the
rather
work.
Consider bug bounties for fixing issues, fixing bugs. But for reporting new ones, right now, I don't think we're in position for that.
Right.
Yeah, I couldn't find out if the one that was mentioned even supports Jira. I swear I've seen them in the past using Jira, but I could not.
There was Freedom Sponsors. I'm not sure whether it's still alive, but at some point the Jenkins was even connected to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the systems was rather not very active.
Yeah.
And the discussion on the mailing list highlighted that the bounty systems have not, we've had them in the past for Jenkins, and they have not been net positive as far as I could tell.
Yeah, so Freedom Sponsors site is dead. It currently shows whatever online casino. But yeah, the code is still there. So maybe.
No, go finish. Oh, okay. My feeling is, I think if we want to get this activated, and not even us, if people in the community want to get it activated, I want to see it working in a plugin before we'd even consider it in core. Just like the translation system, because it's a lot easier and faster to move in a plugin than it is in core.
I like that. I like that as a good standard, is if it were successful and motivated improvements to a few plugins, then it might be worth evaluating. But until then, core is off limits.
Or
right?
is
I
one of
think-
the slowest moving parts of Jenkins, just infra wise.
as it should be.
As it
right?
should be.
Yep.
Would want it working and successful with multiple plugins.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Any other topics we need to discuss before we close?
Oleg did post the link to the old system in chat if you want to put that in notes, or one of us can put it in
Okay,
notes.
great.
I
So
don't know if
this
we want to.
right here.
Was one of the biggest problems that so if we had an easy option to send Schwag, it would be a solution because we could just issue discount codes. But the Linux Foundation system is completely useless in this regards because it's super expensive when it comes to delivery. It requires manual provision for each discount code. So
Yeah. So Gatsby has a system that we could look into because they do most of their stuff public. That when you submit a PR, you get credit. The more credits you get, the higher, better sway you can get. So, again, if we wanted to spend the time and effort to do it, but I think we're all overwhelmed and it's not a ooh, someone else is in the doc. Yeah.
Great.
Is that a parrot icon? No, it's a whale. Walrus. Oh.
Okay. Any other topics for today?
Nope, I don't think so.
All right, thanks. I'll upload the recording probably within the next 24 to 48 hours. Thanks very much.